Let me guess, you're struggling with getting followers or views on Instagram or with short form, and you're probably wasting hours creating content that doesn't get you anywhere. Now, what if everything you thought about growing your Instagram and quality content was basically wrong? Because I recently asked my Creator Club newsletter people to submit their accounts for feedback, and one pattern just kept showing up again and again. And it's honestly the single most reason why I see smaller as well as bigger creators being stuck with either not being able to get any type of traction at all, lots of views that don't do anything, resulting in a burnout. So let me actually show you exactly what most people are doing wrong on a practical example, and obviously I'll then show you how to fix this whole thing so you can actually get views, finally build a brand, but also turn this whole thing into a creator career and make some dough, hopefully. Okay, so let me pull out this creator here. Her name is Laura Marusak, and she's an AI filmmaker, creative advertiser, transforming ideas into stunning AI-driven ads. Now, at first glance, it looks actually pretty cool, especially at this glance. If you look at the profile, I can already tell you, if this looks cool, people usually land on this feed, just so you know, because they come from within the reels. Now, her goal is basically to match up her expertise in AI filmmaking and advertising for brands. Now, instantly here, with this whole thing, scrolling down here, I see two options right there that are actually just one option if you think about it. And let me kind of explain this before I dive deeper, showing you how you can use all these things for yourself in an actionable way. So the first thing I think here is pretty off, to be honest, is the focus and alignment with her target audience, right? Her bio states AI filmmaker and creative advertiser, but her content, if we just go through this right there, I mean, is there any type of AI? Possibly not. Here, yes, we've seen it over and over again. Doesn't make you special. It's literally the trend number one. Okay, but here, yes, we see some AI created stuff. Interesting. No hook, but we'll not even talk about this just yet. But basically, if we just scroll through here, we don't see the whole creative process behind the AI filmmaking at all, right? The feed looks basically, I just closed my app here, but the feed looks basically like a high-end product photographer who occasionally goes on vacation. Yeah, which is not something wrong, but it's not somebody pioneering, for example, AI-driven ads, for example, or somebody I want to come back to and listen to and to kind of educate myself or see what's popping in the AI creator world, right? And this is going to be very important for in a second, actually, because basically now it's a showcase account, an ad account, if you will. Nobody really cares, and nobody's ever going to care. I mean, it just looks cool, but there's a gazillion accounts out there who are doing the same, especially in the AI world. At this point, people probably are not even aware that this might be a skill or not. Even me, I'm like, okay, could be just a one-click thing that everybody can create, or it could be that you need some direction, some knowledge about software and stuff like this. So yeah, I take a look at this. I'm like, okay, somebody doesn't put in a lot of effort. At least that's what it looks like, right? I'm not saying that's how it is, but that's how it looks like. And first impressions here are really, really important. Now, if we just scroll up and down here, just looking at this here, every post is just a polished end result, right? We don't want to see polished end results. We're sick of advertising. So what we want to see is before, after, the journey, the transformation. For example, here's how I used AI to transform this ordinary product photo into this stunning thing right there. Because people want to see the magic happen. They want to see the art behind the art, not just the final product. Because otherwise we'd still be back with watching TVs and these polished ads. Now, for example, instead of this, first of all, there's no hook. Okay, let's not even get into that, but there's literally no hook. So nobody's gonna, somebody says beautiful because they probably bought or just some stupid. But for example, she starts with a basic product photo and then walks through the AI prompts and what to do to set up and shows basically the evolution throughout the stages, what she's doing, how she comes up with it to end up with a masterpiece, basically, or something that just looks cool, right? That is content that people actually want to save, share, comment on, and remember her by. Because right there, why should I remember you, right? It's just a random ad. Again. And that's actually my main issue with this whole thing. And this is where so many creators go wrong here is she has her personal brand set up there in a way, but it doesn't really show down here. It's just a portfolio account. And that's something that worked in 2017 and that's it. Plus there's some random examples of some random, there's not even a hook. Look at this. Now the keyword right here, I already kind of mentioned it, should be to build personal brand. And honestly, it's not just the keyword for here, it should be the keyword for every creator out there building a personal brand, because that not only opens up you as a creator that people listen to, because otherwise there's not even a possibility, as somebody with opinion, somebody who shares value, advice, something to showcase where people actually share because they know the person behind it. And it's actually opens up so many things you can actually do with your personal brand. And honestly, right now, this whole personal branding thing is not a fad, and it's a non-negotiable, honestly, because nowadays, with the content world just being super saturated and it's just all these creators coming in and out, people need some of these things to kind of latch themselves onto, to relate themselves to you. Everything else, honestly, will fail. I can guarantee you that. We're in pretty volatile times in terms of the content creation world. So if she were to create content with a voice, with her face, with opinions, with storytelling, like where she explains or shows some of these transformations that go beyond just these basic things that everybody can do, maybe even covering news related to AI, because there's so much happening right now. People are kind of confused, including myself, and basically use this whole thing to not only attract people to work with her one-on-one, aka advertisers, to basically aim to become the go-to person in your field, which is actually a pretty great field. And then you'll see naturally clients will come and fans will actually come to you, and you're going to position yourself as a leader just because of that, because the framing is totally different. More people will listen to you. Ideally, you also start a newsletter to kind of strengthen this relationship. Super important nowadays because you kind of need to build your audience off platform for the inevitable doomsday that's about to happen. And then basically also build a strategic offer portfolio that just goes beyond, okay, look at my product photography and a bit of AI. There's that. So actually basically nail down your target audience and focus on their actual core problems, their core issues. Also figure out an offer at the end of the day that helps them, because it's also going to help you like crazy with your content. Basically reverse engineering your offer, figuring out how to get people to your offer by creating content, right? So honestly here, the whole issue, and that's the major issue I see with so many creators, is actually understanding who's really your target audience, because I think Laura thinks she knows who's her target audience, but it's totally off. And my creator mentorship, by the way, we, for example, have some painfully constructed custom AI bots that help you nail your target audience to basically shave a lot of time with not a lot of guesswork. Obviously, it's not the only thing you should use. You should always think about use your brain. But at this point, we have a crap ton of data. And I actually put some of Laura's information in one of our tools, and here's what this whole thing came up with. So yeah, basically I fed some data. I also put some comments, but they were not really there, but did some competitor research. We'll get into that in a second. But it seems like her audience should be mostly creative professionals, marketers, business owners, aspiring creators who admire her hybrid of art, tech, strategic branding, blah, blah, blah. But here's where it gets important, actually, especially understanding the psychographics and the pain points of the audience. And I think it's pretty spot on right here. First of all, people who are into this AI type of thing want to learn how to use AI in their creative work. They want to seek modern ways, obviously. They want a mentor figure they can look up to and trust, aka a personal brand. But here's where it really, really gets important. They're overwhelmed by the flood of AI tools and they don't even know where to start. And that's just something we see over and over again. They feel like they're falling behind as tech moves fast. Again, this is where you come into play, because you're the go-to person who helps them be always on top. So what did I spill? By the way, very similar to what I'm doing with some of these Instagram updates and social media things. And the people who lack strategy and clarity, we also have like some fears. But let's not even get too deep into that. So just that alone gives you a pretty great overview of how you can position yourself in a way that actually works, right? That there's an actual target audience at the end of the line. We also have another tool that that I'm just creating. It's not shipped yet technically to the creator mentorship people, but we have another tool where we basically analyze competitors' data and take a look at their comments, for example, and see what the people really are struggling with or really want to know. So it's not just making an educated guess, but actually just figuring out what's going on. And here we can clearly see that people are unsure about what tools to use, what's free, what's paid. So they need simplified tool breakdowns. They want AI app lists, especially focused for specific use cases. A lot of people are overwhelmed, obviously confusion from managing too many tools. Basically what you said before, but now we have actual definitive proof that's what her audience actually wants. And I can tell you, if you position yourself from this, even though it might sound a little counterintuitive because you're the agency owner or whatever, the creative, but position yourself like this is going to make such a difference in terms of also finding clients who directly want to work with you, right? In terms of you actually creating ads for them. I did nothing else back when I started. Basically, I did the same thing, showing people how to set up a social media strategy. Suddenly all these brands came knocking. So concluding this whole thing here, I took a look at some of the competitors, and this is essentially what you need to do. Take a look at your competitors. For example, there's a dude who's basically doing what you want to do, and it literally took me 20 seconds to figure out, not even using any of my tools, just literally just searching for the content, and he's killing it. AI ads, does that ring a bell?
If you want to make AI images, use Midjourney. If you want to go from
right, we have real hooks that open loops that make people listen because there's actual value. There's some sort of progression. Where's this fucking other dude? Or here,
take a picture
for example.
of your product and prompt an effect here. Boom.
That's night and day, right? We have an actual hook. We have an actual hook that opens loops. Storytelling also shows what you could do, shows his expertise, and is like amazing. And there's a person who talks, right? Who's an authority, basically, who's a personal brand. What would I do? I check out her profile, check her links, for example, her stories, and ideally check out her product portfolio that at least has a newsletter there. Maybe there's even some sort of school community or something like that. I didn't do research yet, but you know, let's say a beginner one, a $39 a month school community that shows people how to do that, that keeps them updated with the newest trends and tools and stuff like this. I actually know a lot of people who have just that, but let's just say $39 a month with a small channel, with a small but focused channel, 10,000 views, maybe less. It's totally possible to make, actually with 10,000 views, probably possible to make way more than 5K a month just from this. With a smaller channel, always depending on the things. Let me know if I should make a video on kind of teaching you or showing you how this is being done and how I've done it before and with clients. But it is totally possible, and suddenly it's a totally different ball game away from just running around trying to scramble together some content to, yep, that's a personal brand with a goal, with some content strategy, who also makes money, who's not reliant on these crazy videos. But then again, just look at this. It's possible to have crazy amounts of views in that niche, in that area. Now, what should you specifically do right now to implement what we just said, to get results as fast as possible? First of all, understand the actual needs of your audience, right? Go deep into the comments of your competitors, or if you're in the creator mentorship, again, we'll soon launch this custom updated AI bot that actually looks through these comments for you and finds some patterns for you. It's not a must though. You can literally you actually should at the beginning do it yourself. Second of all, reverse engineer your goal and your target audience coming from that. And don't forget about your offer stack or monetizing the thing right from the beginning, right? That's the only way to really making this whole social media thing work without burning out, is literally thinking about monetization, your offer stack, whatever, right from the start, and then sort of deriving your content from it, from a backwards angle. It's literally as easy as that, right? Money will not come automatically if you just focus on growing your audience first. Like so many of you said in the last poll, I still need to make a video about that. It shocked me. Honestly, that's the worst thing. That's totally the opposite of how social media works. Maybe I didn't do a good job of kind of trying to explain this to you. But yeah, number 3, make sure your hooks and your content is actually really good. Obviously, duh. But one thing to actually help with that in a very easy way is to, for example, use the trial reels feature, which a lot of people already have. We've had a lot of students in the creator mentorship recently blowing up like crazy with just this in the past because they've tested out different hooks and tested out different versions with it. And if you watch this video next here, I'll show you exactly how to use trial reels to do the same. I'll walk you through exactly a framework so you can use that yourself as well. See you soon.